In this video, we're going to take a look at how we go about drawing a fireplace in a concrete ground floor. But before we take a look at that, we're going to take a look at some of the details that are shown in the workbook. Now, in the workbook, there'll be a few issues here with insulation carrying underneath the hearth, which is carrying the weight of the whole chimney breast, the way the flue gathering's finished here, the smoke shelf, and the ground line and the DPM. So the diagram here I have is showing two flues backed onto each other, and basically they're for a compliance of an open or closed, being a fireplace or the likes of a stove. You can see in this here there's some dimensions that are shown regarding the placing of a fireplace, and there's also openings shown for where pipes might be located for the likes of a back boiler. Minimum thicknesses and distances are also written and handwritten in here, and there should be non-combustible materials in the insulation. The flue gathering that's shown here as well too, size-wise, is often shown to be built into the wall, which is not the case, as can be seen here. And we have the cement, lime and sand mix, which is used in around the flues. If it's incorrectly done, it can lead to all sorts of problems: condensation, leakage of air, draft, combustible material, combustible gases leaking into the rooms and that sort of thing. Height from the flue gatherer to the top of the chimney should be 4.5 meters, and we can see correct detail underneath the hearth here with no insulation under it. The flue gathering shown here is size-wise. You can see from the size of the blocks that it matches in the sizes here. Bigger flue gatherings can also be got as well too, and they can be placed at higher heights than what we'll be looking at, because it's to accommodate an open fireplace or the likes of a fire insert. Now, other than that there, other details that are worth a look are regarding ventilation requirements. If you don't have adequate ventilation in the room, you will not have sufficient draw to have the fireplace working efficiently, and the gas is combusting, and that's a serious problem, so that has to be accommodated. This is a question that came up in 2002. It asked about how the flues are jointed, and they're a pumice fire clay, and they have a spigot on them which they insert into each other. Usually a rebate can be in those as well. The fireback that's shown here with sizes, and you can pause this again or slow it down to a suitable pace to go through this and get the sizes from that there. Hearth should be a minimum of 500 millimeters out from the hearth, and you can see that the foundation is extended to accommodate the whole hearth, and that's a very important detail that to be shown in that there. A party wall, which means it's joint between two houses. So starting off, I'm going to start by drawing the foundation, and I'm putting a few sizes in here. The important sizes I'm putting in, because it's an external wall, I'm putting in the 300 millimeters from the edge, 100 millimeter block, 150 millimeter cavity, and a 225 millimeter block on its flat. And then I will extend 450 millimeters out for the flue gathering, and that's the sizes that we have here. So 100, 150, 225 and 450 for those lines coming up from where the foundation is, and extended 300 millimeters around that there to accommodate for the extra sizing. Pretty much similar then to your typical ground floor. I've put in 225 millimeters of hardcore, 50 millimeters blinding, and you can see the red line showing my DPM going in here, and I have 200 millimeters of insulation. Minimum height for the DPM or DPC matching up with the DPM should be 150. I think it'll work out here at 250 because of the size of insulation that I'm using. Minimum size is 125 for a concrete slab, which I'm drawing in now, and the concrete slab actually I've drawn in at 150, and you don't want to have heat transfer to where there would be a plastic DPM or a radon barrier. And I'm putting in the hearth, which is minimum of 500 millimeters out from the edge of the actual chimney breast. I'm putting in the flue gathering here, which you can see is 225 in height and 450 out from the wall, so it matches all my lines coming up from the ground. I decided to put in a ground line at 600 millimeters. You can anywhere between 4 and 6 is fine. And I'm going about drawing the flue gathering here. Really and truly, the importance of the flue gathering, the sizes you can take from what I've drawn. If you slow it down, you'll see the sizes I've written in beside each of these here, but it's the general shape. The knee is the part that sticks out, as you can guess. It looks like somebody's bent knee sticking out. That angle that I've used is 45 degrees. It should be somewhere in around that there. And for the openings here as well, you can slow it down and take a look at the ruler sizes that I have. 150 from the front edge of the flue gathering to where the flue goes into it, You can see I've made a mistake here in the line that I've drawn for the flue. Sizes of the flue are also given as well. So I've come 5 or 50 from the bottom edge to get the inside line for my flue as well too, as I'm going up here. They will give you a minimum size 194 for a flue gathering, but in this here I've made it 240 millimeters, so that's the size that I have here, and I've taken roughly 30 millimeters in either direction of the center line of the flues, which are 460 millimeters in height, to draw the spigot. It's the general shape that you need to get right. It's not really, the specifics will not be that important, but the general shape will. The other details that we want to have in here as well too, have insulation, non-combustible, naturally enough, behind where the fireplace is. Like I said earlier in the video, it's not recommended to have a fireplace on an external wall because of the risks of temperature differential, which affects the draw and the functioning of the fireplace. It's more likely that you should have a fireplace on an internal wall, and you wouldn't have any of this design difficulty with where your DPM and your cold bridging would be, as you can see there in the lower part of the drawing. And other details, I'm just putting in a crosshatch for my blocks, because it's a hell of a lot easier to draw than trying to draw the arrangement of blocks in this here. And the fill, I'm just going to use a different colour for the fill, the 1 cement, 1 lime, 12 sand, and it will be put in behind the fire back. The fire back, when it's put into place, behind that, it's packed in layers, and then the top, the shelf, is actually finished off normally with a fire cement, and a fire is lit. There's cardboard on the back of the fire back, so that it actually allows for expansion and contraction as well too when it's in use afterwards. And the throat should allow for the gases to easily be carried away. And if there's a bend in the flue shouldn't exceed 45 degrees. Some specifications might give 37.5 degrees, but normally it'd be 45 degrees, but it shouldn't exceed that. And important to make sure that you put in all your details here. You can stop the video at any stage to look at sizes. It's in that 1525 is the size that I have shown here, but you could change that around. I've went for a 225 millimeter block on the internal, so that it allows for less likelihood of temperature transfer into the block and maybe cracking it or the likes. And use guidelines for all your details that are shown in here. There's a tremendous amount of details that are shown in this here. When you're reading a question that's to do with fireplaces and you have to put in the detail, pick from the question the details that you must make sure that you put in. I've shown the wall ties in here as well. Simple details will get you marks that are common to every drawing, like the block wall, the foundation, your wall ties spaced at 450 centres, and the very first piece, and the common mistake as well too with insulation. The insulation cannot start to be built in, or the fill insulation can't start to be filled in until the DPC and thereafter. So that's a details often incorrectly done. Heights and sizes around the fireplace here, I've put in at 700, that'll be a max size, and 600 millimeters roughly to the top of the fire back. I think it's about 610 is an actuality, and the throat here just showing that it's got adequate clearance from where the combustion takes place. Now, in an open fireplace, the efficiency of an open fireplace is terrible. 70% of the heat is going up and out the chimney and 30 into the room. So at a later video I'm going to show a detail of a fire insert or a stove, which would be in the territory of 75 to 80 or 85% efficient. So I think that covers it. Slow down the speed in the video and for playback when you want to get sizes from it.